This week I watched 7 movies starting with the letter O, and here's what I thought of all of them. If you're new to this series, I am taking a different letter of the alphabet each week and watching movies that exclusively start with that letter, usually recommendations by you all. This is 1, to expand my own movie horizons, but 2, to get better about logging my movies on Letterboxd. Actually only rewatched one movie that I've seen before, and I decided to rewatch The Outsiders just because I enjoy that movie. I'll admit that my rating for it is probably inflated due to nostalgia, but this had such an impact on me in middle school because that's when we read the book. We did like a Greasers versus Socias like activity, and then obviously everyone in it is beautiful. I do think it's a wonderful storyline and a pretty quick watch, so I do recommend. I did watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for the first time. A bunch of people recommended it. I did think it was good. I think I would have benefited a lot from like reading a synopsis of what it was supposed to be about, or like what history it was drawing on, to kind of appreciate it a little more. Because at first I was like, what the heck just happened? And then I like read into it a little bit more and I was like, oh yeah, I think probably subsequent watches I'll like it more. I don't know if this is a hot take. I do think it's one of Leo DiCaprio's best roles. Of course, I haven't seen One Battle After Another. It is a no movie, but I will get to it eventually. I did watch Oh Brother, Where Art Thou for the first time, and I will admit that the reason I haven't watched it is it's one of my dad's favorite movies, and so I was like, if I hate this, it's gonna put a real rift in our relationship. So luckily, I did enjoy it. I was very shocked when like the opening sequence has Based on the Odyssey. I think the music is great. I think it balances humor and commentary very well. I think it's possibly one of George Clooney's best roles. I did watch Only Lovers Left Alive. I knew that Tom Hiddleston was in it, and so that's part of why I added it to the list. It's like an interesting reflection on art and on our place in the world and appreciation of history, but also like being in the present and creating. I was watching it, I was kind of like, this is the same kind of pacing or atmosphere as like a cozy fantasy novel. Like not a ton happens, but that's kind of like why you're in it. And I think when you're talking about eternity and vampires, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I know this is where it's gonna get controversial, that's why I'm sticking in the middle. Okay, I watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and this was my first time watching it. The only interaction I've had with it previously was that I was in a like public health, mental health class, and we talked about the impact of this movie on like perceptions of like ECT treatments. I mean, I do have to give the movie credit because I think that at the time people weren't talking a ton about the treatment of people who were in like mental health facilities, or just people in general who had different mental health disorders. However, I think I was a little bit shocked when the quote-unquote protagonist did the crime that he did, had no remorse for it, was trying to get around prison by going to this mental health facility. So I think I was just struggling because I think when I hear people talk about it, it seems like this like good versus evil dichotomy of Jack Nicholson's character versus Nurse Ratched, and I didn't see a ton of like that stark contrast between them, to be honest. I had a lot of complicated feelings about it. If you love it, please do not let my review of it ruin that experience for you. But talking about ruined experiences, Open Water is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, period. And half of that is that I don't even know what it was filmed on, but like, I think my flip phone from middle school could have done a better job. And it is based on a true story, so I mean, it's taking a lot of creative liberties because obviously we don't know what happened to these 2 people who were kind of left in the middle of the ocean. And so if you do have a fear of like open water, maybe this is great for you. I don't think it's a movie I'm ever gonna turn back to, and I can't recommend in good faith. Thank you all so much for your recommendations. The next one is movies that begin with the letter N, so leave your recommendations in the comments.